Oh, you guys. All right.
I'm sure everyone's laughing. Their mics are muted.
No, I 100% everyone's laughing.
Oh, they're rolling on the floor.
Yes, they are.
Nobody likes my tenants.
No, Tooks. Everybody. We were just dying. You just came in a little late. We were just.
Did I see that on Facebook yesterday? I think I did, and I laughed out loud.
Yeah, it was on Facebook. I actually tagged Rochelle on it.
Yeah. Oh, so fun. Okay, hi everybody. I guess we're at the top of the hour. I think that there's some new folks on the call today, so I'll just explain the meeting real quick. If you were here in the last few minutes, that's the dad joke portion of the meeting. And now we're down to business. Everyone's muted when they enter the call. They're automatically muted. So if you have like a comment or a question, you'll have to unmute yourself, or you can use the chat function in WebEx, and we'll have some time for Q&A at the end of the call. So that's where we'll tackle all of the questions that went in the chat box. So with that, kicking things off this week is going to be Caitlin and Rick to talk about PSP.
Hey, thank you, Rochelle. Good morning and good afternoon to everyone. And thanks for joining the call. So I'm going to provide a brief update on the Partner Solutions program. This first slide is the same slide that we had on the screen last month. And it's just a reminder of the program. So I'm not going to go through the details of this, but as you know, this presentation will be sent to everyone. So if we can flip to the next slide, please. So the questions have been coming up throughout the month of January, and I wanted to put a couple of these up on the screen. When does the Partner Solutions program start? We are in the sign-up stage right now, okay, and have been for several weeks. The RSMs and our rep partners should be actively signing up dealers on PSP, and they are. So we really got kicking on this the second week of January. The PSP activation begins on April 1. So what does that mean? Well, there's been so many questions related to CCP. Will my dealers still get the benefits of CCP for this quarter? And the answer is yes. Okay, so if they're a CCP dealer, the program expired on 12/31. The CCP dealers don't automatically get transferred to the PSP program. I believe everyone understands that. But the dealers that are on CCP currently will continue to receive all the terms and the benefits of CCP through March 31st. So when I said that the activation for PSP begins on April 1, that gives us a very clean cutover, okay? So, and then it's very well defined. CCP goes away and PSP will be the only program available. And you know, please feel free to send additional questions if you're still foggy about that. Let's go to the next slide, please. Here's the progress report. 154 dealers have either completed the sign up, and that means they were sent the document and they executed the document, signed on DocuSign, sent back to us, and they are completed. And then 84 have fully completed this sign up. 70 dealers have been sent the document for signature. This was as of yesterday afternoon. And I wanted to call out a few rep firms that have really been kicking in. Envision 2, thank you, 34 dealers signed up. Sigmet, you're rocking with 30 dealers, and plus 20 dealers have signed up. So, you know, that's a good start, and let's keep pushing forward. That's all I have, and let's move on to the next presenter.
Rick.
Oh, happens to be Rochelle.
All right, it's KPI time. So we have been working internally to modify KPIs moving forward to make sure that they are still meaningful, drive the results that align with our strategies. But one important thing is we want to also reduce the administrative back and forth that occurred last year. So we want to simplify it. So our KPI, we will have 3 KPIs this year. One is around new dealer bookings. The other is around project registrations. And then the third is around the retail dealer program. So as we did last year, all of the rep firms will receive their individual goals that are customized to you and your region. You will have a new dealer bookings goal. So it is based on new dealers that you sign up in 2023 and the bookings associated with those dealers. We were measuring it, the quantity of new dealers and net sales, and we decided the best path forward was really just to measure that bookings number. Importantly, this can be direct or through distribution. So you can sign up new dealers through a distributor and we can pull that booking data and include it. It works across all of our segments, AVL. And you will have one yearly goal and we'll be working towards that goal and we'll receive monthly reports on how you're tracking. The second is project registration. So you will get a goal, a quantity, like 10, for instance, 10 a quarter might be one rep firm's goal. There's a $10,000 minimum. So it's not just registering a power cable, like it needs to be an actual project. And it can also be direct or through distribution, and works across audio, video, and lighting. The last is around the retail dealer program. So each of you has a certain mix of retail dealers in your territory. We have outlined goals for each of those, and then they're summed up for this KPI. So this is kind of what it would look like. This is an example. This theoretical rep firm has a new dealer booking goal of $116,000. In the monthly report that you receive, we'll tell you how your bookings are tracking towards that goal, what percent you are to that goal. Same with project registrations, same with retail dealer program. The beauty of this is no tracking is required on your end. You do not have to submit anything to us. We can pull all of this information from our own systems. For the project registration piece, you will have to work closely with your RSM because we will be pulling that data through CRM and they need to use a specific naming rules in order for us to be able to pull it. And that's it. Nick Owen is going to be sending it and communicating with you guys monthly. And then the audio and video leads will be in touch with you based on how you're performing to make sure that we're in line and are driving the results that we both want to, or that we all want to drive. So before we move on, other team leads, did I miss anything? Anything you want to add? Okay. Okay, great.
I think you brought up a good point though, and I just wanted to reinforce it, that our rep partners don't have to track things and send reports in and whatnot relative to these KPIs. But and that I know was a kind of a sore point over the last year on making sure that we got these documents in on a certain, on a certain date, et cetera. So that's a pretty important point there.
Yeah. All right.
Michelle,
Yes.
there was a question that came up in the chat about how does project registration work if it goes through a distributor? Is Melissa on the call that could maybe answer that while we're on this subject?
Yeah,
Might be
I
good.
can, Mike, and you hit the
Yeah.
mute button before I could. So Matt, it works just the same way as it does today. I know you work closely with Almo and some of our distributors. You would simply contact either Gwen, Kevin, or Kevin, and they would walk you through the process. It's very seamless and very easy. So no issues there. We do it each and every day. So if you have any further questions, just let us know.
Is the discount the same as our design build program with PSP when going through a distributor?
Yeah, so that's the beautiful part. We don't have to give any additional discounts if they go through distribution. So the distributors have enough margin there to transact that business. So that's the easy part. So if there's anything that we need to do outside of those lines, just let one of our account managers know, and we can manage that discount. And we usually work with the RSMs to make sure they're good with those discounts.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, great. Good question. All right, Blake, I'll hand it off to you.
Oh, thank you, Rochelle. So I wanted to present to the group the Harmon Pro Rewards Program 2023 with respect to the install accounts. The program itself has sort of evolved a little bit over last year, and we really looked at where we were getting some value and where we were creating value within our customers. And we found we really wanted to kind of shift the way we were implementing the program this year. And so we're going to do it via sort of 3 strategic ways in the install accounts again. So we're going to use sales contests, sales incentives, and then coming soon, some targeted training. Now, as a reminder, the Harmon Pro Rewards program in the past has been something where we were rewarding engineers and we were rewarding sales executives. We were sort of tracking their sales and really trying to drive preference in those accounts. We're going to go about it a little differently this way. Under the previous, a lot of folks were sort of eligible to get paid, but nobody made what I'd say meaningful revenue off of it. So we wanted to try to pay bigger rewards, but to less people, if you will, in 2023 and have sort of competition for some of these rewards, try to get a little greater visibility in the organizations. And honestly, the contest and the incentives seem to be more welcome for the install dealers. Paying their engineers and paying their sales reps sometimes was a bit of a conflict of interest, or we may be sort of competing against other programs they had. Whereas incentives and contests are something that are very welcome. I think we're going to find a number of partners where we're able to run these. And so the difference are going to be sales contests, or where we look and we set sort of a minimum level to achieve, but have a little bit higher rewards, where we're going to take a large integrator, perhaps put some sales numbers of, 300,000 in a quarter or something like that. We can have, different rewards. And of course, these apply to all the Harmon products, not just video and control. And then we would have a first, a second, a third place in some of those types of situations. So you can see we've left the parameters a bit open there, because we're going to want to look at the account. We're going to want to look at what's the potential return on the account, and then set those goals and set those targets so that they're, consistent with a good profitable growth in the account. Other accounts we may want to look at more of a sales incentive, right? So in a contest, you've got winners, a couple of wins, and an incentive. Everyone who's able to achieve that incentive can win. So we may look at product groups. We may look at contractor series speakers. We may look at AMX presentation solutions. We may look at video over IP. But we've got the option in certain accounts, if we want to move the ball on certain groups, we can put some incentives in those accounts. Those would typically be a little smaller, but we'd set a threshold of $10,000 within that particular period, and they could receive a $250 type of a program reward. And then coming soon, we'll have some targeted training where you'll be able to log on Harmon Pro Reward, actually complete some different training, and be rewarded for that. These are all, again, serviced through our level 6 provider. So it's a Harmon Pro Rewards website is a place that harbors all of our information for the Harmon Rewards program. We're actually going to build a portal out now that'll let us do some training. And you'll see some other additions before we move on from our retail teams and our distribution teams here in the near future, and some new and different ways that we can use the program as well. So next slide, let's talk a little bit about the accounts that we want to go get with these. We're looking for accounts that move the dial. One of the things we learned from the previous program is the amount of administration that it takes, the amount of monitoring, and if we're really going to get value, we need to have an account that is of size to move the dial, It's a mature organization. They've got an outside force that we can actually have compete for some of these rewards that we're talking about here. A sales management process in place with a sales manager and organizational support for the program, right? We want to make sure we've got ownership buy-in, we've got sales management buy-in, and we've got the ability to really get in front of those teams and promote the program. And then I'd say probably momentum accounts as well. We want to make sure these are accounts that we have some momentum in, and we're looking to continue to pull additional video and control and an audio account, or additional audio and a video and control account. But we've actually got a plan in place where we can grow the account. We know what we're going after. And then we just don't want to be competing against any other directives, right? If we've got, we'll say Crestron with a similar program in the quarter, maybe we sit one out, we put one in the next quarter. Next slide. So how do you request an account? You contact your RSMs. So please include the audio and the video and control RSM on the request. They've got some forms internally. Laura James will be the initial recipient of those forms, and then we'll bring in the right leadership from audio or video and control on that form. They'll sort of write exactly what they want from the program, what they're hoping to grow out of that program. And then we can look at putting that program in place. So look forward to rolling this out. Again, this is just the install. I think you'll see some additional sort of approaches from distribution and retail here in the near future. So I think with that, it's over to Caitlin. Oh, one last slide for me. Apologize. All the tracking and payment is done through level 6. And so if you're wondering how these actually get handed out, they do receive a Harmon Reward debit card. And then, of course, all of the support documentation at the end of the year. If they, I think it's over 500. I think if they win more than that, they'll get a 1099 from level 6. All right, thanks.
Hey guys, so if you haven't been paying attention to AMX over the last 90 days, maybe you've been sleeping on the fact that we've had 3 exciting product launches, one this week being the N2600 series. So this is our new networked AV. It is priced between the N2300 and N2400, so extremely cost effective and performs better than both of them. And then earlier last quarter, we had Jetpack and Vario released. I think you should all know about that. If not, contact your RSM now. These are selling hot and everyone's interested. If you're not selling it, you're losing out on opportunity. Okay, next slide. So specifically getting into N2600, this was launched on Tuesday, January 31st. As I mentioned, it's our new networked AV product. So a couple key points to mention is the simultaneous dual streaming capability. Another thing is the form factor. So we have wall plates, standalone units, and the encoder card, which will fit into existing card frames. We also have modern connectivity, so USB-C. This is on the wall plates, so both for the encoder, decoder, good to go. In terms of standards, it has everything that previous units have had. All of the AMX security, and it is pending JITC certification. So if you were on last month's call with Richard, you know all about JITC and how important that is. So that is coming soon. And just like our previous products, we have our online web configurator, and you can use enable and command open API. So control this with an AMX system, a Crestron system, any flavor of your choice, just like previous SVSI models.
Hey, Caitlin, I'll put a little emphasis on one of those points. If someone corners you or if someone says, so what's so different about this? I mean, it looks and smells just like all the rest of them. It's a little less bandwidth. It's high resolution. It's the dual stream. And essentially what that means is from a single box, I've got 2 different codecs putting 2 different streams out of the same box. So if I want a high resolution stream locally and I want to put it on a local display, I've got next to no latency. It's as if I've got native video there, but I'm also at the same time putting out an H.264 stream. So like in higher education, that can go to a control room. In applications, it could go to a touch panel for a preview without going through additional switchers or what they have to do today to put different boxes together to get to the different codecs. So it doesn't look like a lot just as a little bullet, but when you really start putting these things together, It's very elegant. There's a lot less boxes and the connections make a lot more sense now. So that's kind of the elevator pitch, man. If somebody says, what's the deal with 2600? It's the dual stream. It simplifies the design. It gives you all the functionality you need. And it makes it compatible with our existing 3000 series. So if they do say, okay, great, I got a secondary stream, what can I do with it? You can window process it, you can record it, you can archive it, you can put it out to a content delivery network. I mean, it really does open the door for any application. Over to you, Caitlin.
Yeah, and on that note, Jeff Phillips brought up a good point. The dual stream is only available on our S models. So that is our standalone boxes. The wall plates don't have that dual stream. So if we go on to the next slide, then I can answer Mike's question, which is around pricing and availability. The wall plate encoders and decoders both have an MSRP of 1,500. Standard dealer will be 50% off of that. They will both be shipping this May. All of the standalone units and the encoder card will be coming soon, and we will be launching MSRP appropriately as that is pending. And we do not want to get anybody in a compromised position of promising things that we can't offer. Okay. And then just as an overview, we do have new product and availability. So just as a reminder, Varia, the Slim 80 or Slim 8-inch is already shipping. The Slim 5-inch is going to be shipping this month. And the standard Varia 10-inch with both the camera version and non-camera version will be shipping in March. Additionally, Jetpack is already shipping this month. Looking at Q2, our standard Varia units for the 8-inch and 15-inch will be shipping in May, and our N2600 encoders and decoder wall plates will also be shipping in May. Okay, that's all the updates for AMX.
Thanks, Caitlin. Okay, Melissa, over to you.
All right, so before we go into our first slide, I just want to make a quick mention on aged inventory. We had a lot to cover on this call, so Mark didn't have the time to do it. We do have stock rotations coming back from all four distributors, which is not surprising when you start the year off, and they took a lot of inventory last year. We are going to send out that list and ask that you guys take a look at it and see if you can help us move some of it before we take the return. I know Derek and Rochelle, you guys are jumping in customer care, but if anybody out there in the field, you're looking to complete some projects, anything of that nature, just let Mark know, and we'll do our best to help you get that gear for you. All right, Rochelle, let's go. And we're going to start with Diversify. We want to share some key information for you as we head into 2023. They have decided to buy through distribution for this year. There's a lot of reasons for that. I'll give you the top three. Cash flow is a problem, so they need better terms. Also, they've consolidated a lot of their offices and warehouse space is limited. They really need a distributor to hold that inventory for them. They were given the option to choose any partner they wanted. ADI is their choice. We will make this a permanent change on March 1st for the year. ADI does a lot of business with them along the security side of their business, so it made a lot of sense. Roland and I and Mike Kesterson and Gwen Brandenburg met with ADI. We met with Diversified. We have a joint call with both parties on Tuesday to make sure we're on the same page. But we did this last year with AVI-SPL. We have the process down. It's extremely easy for us to do now. Of course, we'll make sure all POS is sent to finance. Everyone gets paid the same, so no questions there. You will get paid. And then all business will go through ADI, like everyday run rate and deal registrations. The only exceptions there, of course, will be large venue custom projects. Parts and services like POs for programming for Citibank will remain direct. They do with AVI-SPL as well, and select Martin SKUs. They do a lot of lighting with us. The projects are very complex. We have to touch those projects a lot during the ordering process. There is a little gray area here, but Mike Kesterson and Diversified will talk about that, and they'll determine if there are any other projects that need to remain direct, but the goal is to get as much of their business through distribution as possible. So when it comes to the sales engagement and strategy, there is a slight change from what we did with AVI-SPL. We're actually not changing anything. So with more on that, I'll hand it over to you, Mike, so you can walk the teams through that portion of it.
Great. Thanks, Melissa. Yeah, I think a lot of people are questioning, what's going on with Diversified. I want to share a little bit of information with you. It really is a difficult account right now. They're closing 14 offices, and that will happen throughout this year. So my last count said there will be 21 offices remaining. Really, our engagement today is really through WebEx, webinars. Most of those, even active offices, are remote in nature. So a lot of people just don't go into the offices. So as you have your contacts with Diversified, just be aware to include me in maybe some of those conversations. If you want to set up any type of specific webinar or training, we have stuff already in the pipeline. So maybe you want to share or learn about what we have, but let me drive it, because essentially, as we make this change to ADI this year, my responsibilities still remain the same. I own the strategy for the account. They've asked us personally just to have a very narrow, a select few people that have communication with them, and we're finalizing the program with them, and they're part of that process. But from an executive level down, they're sending the message down to all the offices. So really, day in and day out, I'm still actively involved. And if you have any questions, if you have any projects that you're aware of, please reach out to me, because we still want to hold deal registration, and apply the discounts to that, and I'll manage the quote for you and let you hand that directly to your contact there. But please just let me be aware. With ADI being part of it, that's typically the run rate. Some of the deal registration will go through ADI, but we will be very involved in the large venue projects, the house of worship stuff. There's key accounts that we're part of almost weekly now. Auburn, Citibank, Georgia Tech. So we'll still keep those accounts direct, because we create a dashboard and make sure that the customer is aware of when products are going to be shipping, so we can meet their timelines. These are critical accounts, and accounts that we've had for like a decade now. Deal registration will still be in a process. It'll be a lot of it will go through Gwen and who manages the ADI account, but on the large stuff, that'll all come through me. Just some activities that we do have planned. February 16th, as a matter of fact, we're going to do the Varia, the Jetpack, and then the new N2600 presentation to. We've got a list of over 110 design engineers, so we hope to get all those bodies in to hear a full hour presentation of all the new stuff that we have to offer. We're trying to get the executive team out to Northridge, and the time frame is looking about April. I think that'll be helpful in us just bonding the relationship, them actually touching and feeling and seeing what we have. I don't think InfoComm is really the best time to see all that, but have a sit down and really better understand their business as they go forward. So that being said, please let me know if there's any engagement with Diversified, any projects. There's, again, one point of contact, and that being myself. So with that being said, I'm going to hand this over to Gwen now, who oversees ADI.
Thank you, Mike. We have had some exciting events happen with ADI already this year. They kicked the year off with their sales kickoff meeting in Orlando, Florida, with all of their vendors and their sales teams. The theme of the event was Power of Team, with a focus on putting the customer first. So in that, they will be highlighting their business insights, which is their online portal. They want to achieve highlighting their NPI to their customers. They're committed to data-driven results, and they have some very branch-specific goals in mind, which is very important, of course, to our Harmon business. So they will set defined accounts per each of their sales rep at the branch. They like to leverage other sales tools. They have a sales development plan for their staff. And we're very much in alignment with that strategy. As Blake mentioned, we are working on a targeted branch training. So more to come on that. We will continue to leverage their acquisitions. By the way, they did recently acquire BTX in White Plains, Texas. We also had a great opportunity to be in front of their leadership while we were in Orlando, and we're just committed to building out those relationships, and we would love to get them out to the Experience Center in a few months. Other big and exciting news at ADI is they hired a funded head. funded BDM for Harmon. They promoted Tyler Hasselman. You might recognize his last name. Those of you that work in the Chicago market, his father is Matt Hasselman. So Tyler is from Chicago and he's worked at ADI for 5 years. He's had experience from the warehouse, inside sales, and then he was also the brand or the Pro AV champion there at that branch. So he has great experience, and he's already showing that he's going to be quite helpful to our business. We've been busy with onboarding and making introductions to teams. So you may see him on one of your team calls coming up. We've been building out strategy. One thing to take note is he recently had a baby a couple weeks ago. His wife did, so he will be on paternity leave in April. So he will be quiet there for a little bit, but you will be hearing from him. Lastly, I do want to thank all of our reps for their support at the local branches and your feedback. Those monthly reports are still very valuable. Those will not be part of the KPIs this year, but if you will please continue to take the time, that is very helpful to us in building out strategy and supporting those branches. So thanks again, and I will pass this over to Kevin Bessaker to talk about Connection.
Hello, everyone. So yes, I'm Kevin Bessaker. Thank you, Gwen. So I had the opportunity to, I handle Connection, and they're a really large account in our field right now. So they have 2,500 employees. They have 500 plus account managers, 400 engineers. So a really large account that does $2.9 billion in revenue every year. So I had the opportunity to go down to their sales kickoff, which is called Connection Live. Got me out of Buffalo, where it's currently 7 degrees, down to sunny West Palm, Florida. So that was nice. But the reason we wanted to talk about it is the reach and the opportunities that came out of this particular event. Had the opportunity to be a part of Samsung's booth, so utilizing our partnership and with our parent company here, Samsung, who has done some really amazing things in helping us where we wouldn't normally have the opportunity to get in front of some customers, and where they have a really deep knowledge and breadth of understanding in some of our accounts. They allowed us to come there and to be a part of their booth and really help to have a partnership. So some opportunities that came out of this is specifically with the Arvaria products. I had some of those, as well as the Jetpack, and some people in the healthcare division, both at Samsung as well as on Connection side, took a liking to it and are really interested in moving forward with some different projects. And we've had some really fun conversations about how getting some software that they want to be loaded onto it and how it can work, and filling some gaps in Samsung's product line. So what we wanted to do was express to you all the amazing things that Connection can do, that our other NSPs, CDW and Insight and SHI can do. So if you have customers that are in need of some help, please reach out to myself or to Mike Kesterson. We can make sure that we get your customers taken care of. As well as expressing the importance, and some things that we've talked about a lot is really leaning on our Samsung counterparts and being able to be a part of that team and using them to help facilitate a lot of these different deals. So it's really exciting to be a part of this team and to see things going forward. So with that, I'll pass it over to Rochelle.
Great. Thank you, guys. That was wonderful. All right. So this is a reminder. We announced this on last month's call, but these are some very important pricing adjustments that we're making. So we want to make sure that it's all top of mind for you guys. We are permanently reducing the price of the 104 BTs. Both the black version and the white version will all get new pricing. The new dealer pricing was in the system in January, so our dealers could start buying in at the lower price. But as of this Monday, February 6th, these will get a new map. We're really excited to see the traction we get in the field because of this pricing. We think it aligns a lot better with this customer. So yeah, we'll send out an official announcement reminding our dealers that February 6th, will be the new map for this product. And then we'll see how it goes Monday. For the 3 series, they are all getting new pricing, same exact thing, except for one difference. The map changes on these are February 15th, not the 6th. So dealers can purchase in on the new dealer cost now. They have been able to since January, and map changes on the 15th. Same for the P series microphones. So buy in now at the lower cost, new maps coming, pre-pandemic pricing. We're really excited about seeing these products move more quickly through the channel, get a lot more sell-through on them. Next, a reminder of the promos. These promos went live a few days ago when February started. Just a reminder that the SKUs that are highlighted in yellow, dealers get 100% of the rebate on those SKUs. So they are kept completely margin whole. And hopefully that incentivizes a little bit more purchasing there, since we do have quite a bit of stock of those products. Then the 104 BTs, we are putting them on promo starting Monday, which is why we had to do the permanent price change a little bit different for these, just to smooth it over and not have so much confusion. So not only are they changing map, but boom, we're going to promo them right away. And we're excited. We think that this is going to give it a lot more visibility. We're testing out these short promos, and we'll start measuring sell-ins and sell-through and see if this can really move the needle with these monitors. As a reminder, we are bringing live sound promos back in March and April, and the DFI for these starts in a few weeks. So please make sure your dealers are aware, they're ready to buy in, and hopefully they're as excited as we are to start promoting some portable PA. So I'm announcing this on this call. I will share it with the dealers shortly. We are also going to be running a promotion on our 3 series and the Soundcraft Notepad 5 throughout April and May. And the DFI for these will start on March 15th. So we'll give everybody a heads up that this is an additional studio monitor promotion, keeping these top of mind with our dealers. And I am going to hand it over to Frank to give a little overview about NAM. Frank?
Hey, Rochelle, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. I wanted to just briefly touch base on kind of the plan for NAM this year. Obviously, NAM has gone through significant changes over the last couple of years in terms of the dates that the show's been scheduled for obvious reasons. Based on recovery from a pandemic, last year, as you know, we were back-to-back with NAM and InfoComm, and this year the date is April 13th through the 15th, and with anticipation that the show dates will return back to January in 2024 as it stands today. So after much collaboration and discussion internally with the sales team and kind of our strategic direction this year, really focusing and placing our bet on InfoComm this year to really help focus on the product launches in those categories where we can really stand strong, we've decided that this year we will pause on an actual booth at the show. So as you recall, last year was a pretty significant year for us on the audio side with all of the NPIs that we launched and had a very successful show. So this year we'll take a pass on the actual footprint of a booth. However, we will continue to participate in the media center. So as you may or may not be aware, 2 years ago, We partnered with NAM to build out this exclusive media center to partner with NAM as well as the media as a place to go and to actually create a synergy. So what you're looking at here from the top down is kind of the space that we have. It started originally as a much smaller space, about a 20 by 40, and now we're up to about a 50 by 70, as you can see here. Part of that is bringing in the JBL AKG retail truck and then furnishing 8 tables out in front with various locations for live stream, for press and media with a series of step and repeats, as well as media and influencers. So initially we had kind of forecasted around 60 to 65 different media partners that would come in and reserve tables. And in 2022, we had 200. So certainly outperformed our expectations, and looking forward to this year partnering again. In addition to any space internally, as you can see here, here are some of the activations from last year. We will have some limited space inside the truck. So in terms of any meetings or customer interaction that you'd like to have from a sales perspective, certainly reach out to us or to myself and the marketing team if you do plan to be at the show, and we'll have potentially some small locations. But as usual, a lot of meetings take place kind of on the fly out, in the hallways and in various locations. But the majority of this space will be dedicated to press and media. But of course, as I said, we'll have a small space inside of the truck if you need to break away. But for the most part, as I said, this will be dedicated to press and media. So far, the kind of direction on this, in addition to individual activations on press, we will be engaging some influencers to come to the show as well as kind of part of our strategy to bring new faces to NAM, as well as new faces to some Harman products. This week, Roland and I had the opportunity to sit down with Joe Lamont and just kind of talk through our strategy with the booth going into 2024, having a presence back, but also taking a pause this year and focusing exclusively on the truck. And all indications are that NAM is very supportive of our approach, and we look forward to being back in 2024. So, Roland, I don't know if you want to add to this, but certainly welcome
Hey, Frank,
any additional input.
Frank, maybe you share with everyone who Joe Lamont is. I'm not sure everyone knows.
Yeah, Joe Lamont is the president and CEO of the NAM organization. Sorry, good call.
Yeah,
so Joe spent yeah.
And so Frank and I had a really good meeting with him, and one of the primary reasons was we wanted to make sure he was okay with us taking a pause this year in the booth space, and let him know that we're still very committed to the industry and committed to NAM as whole. And as Frank mentioned, it was a very positive meeting. He also offered some insights that I think are really important about the whole trade show industry in general. And I'm paraphrasing a little bit, so I'm not quoting him directly. But basically what he said is that prior to the pandemic, trade shows like NAM and others were places where vendors launched products, and it was kind of a way for everybody to meet and reconnect live, especially in this industry that we're all in. The socialization of that is a big part of that. The pandemic kind of changed that dynamic. Now companies have learned how to successfully launch products online or through their own activities, kind of like we did with the roadshow. And while the socialization is still important and the meeting with your colleagues is still important, it doesn't seem to be as important with the new generation that's coming into the marketplace. So one of the things that NAM is doing is looking at how to re-swig the show, for a better word, to bring in new people, to give customers other reasons to come, other than just the things that maybe were important prior to the pandemic. And they're actively engaged in doing that. So in 2024, when they revert back to their traditional January date, they're also going to have hopefully other activities planned that will give customers reasons to come other than the reasons they did just in the past. And I thought that was very insightful, because we see this across all trade shows now, whether it be Infocom or NAB or LDI or whatever. They're all kind of going through this process now of what does the future look like. It was kind of refreshing to hear that they recognized it was a problem, for one, and that they were working on a way of making trade shows relevant going forward. So it was good from the perspective is they know we're still committed. The relationship is still great, but it was also good to see that there's changes coming in the future. Because I think all of us companies as vendors right now weighing the cost of this versus the benefit. And this thought process I thought was very refreshing. I also would like to add in here, in case you're wondering, it's not 100% locked yet, but we are tentatively planning on having a rep meeting right before Infocom. You know, last year we had one in the Experience Center before NAM. Since we're not participating in NAM this year, we're not going to do that. But we are looking at doing that for Infocom in Orlando in June. So just so you might want to tentatively mark that on your calendar.
Great. Thank you, guys. So I just want to be clear. Our sales presence at NAM will be very minimal.
Yeah.
The footprint we have to work in is very small. We do not expect our reps to attend NAM for Harmon. Like Roland said, the focus should be on Infocom. Frank's doing a great job making the most of NAM this year, and hopefully next year we'll be back with a full booth presence, but we do not expect you to spend your travel dollars to come out to NAM this year. From what we hear from our customers, our customer attendance will be light, our sales attendance will be light. So I just wanted to make sure everybody, all of our reps understood that piece of it.
That being said, I'll be there. Rochelle will be there. Tyler Mason and Dan Garcia will be there. So if you have, a customer that wants to meet with us, as Frank said, inside the truck or in a hallway or at a coffee spot, and if you have responsibility for one of our key retail dealers and want to work with Rochelle, Frank, Rochelle, Frank will be there as well, myself, Dan, or Tyler, about maybe having a strategic dinner. We can certainly talk about that. So we will have some of us there to entertain and engage with your customers if needed, and just work through Rochelle and her team on that.
Perfect. All right, thanks, guys. One last tidbit from the audio side. The retail dealer program, as you know from earlier in the call, this is going to be your retail KPI for this year. Dan and Tyler sent all of the reps a list of their retail dealer participants from 2022 and let you know whether or not they met the minimum threshold in order to retain their status in the program this year. It's important. I think they sent even some email templates for you to help you communicate the news to your dealers. It's important that you have done so. If you haven't done it already, please do so immediately. And then just one note on signing up new dealers into the program. We've moved to DocuSign rather than the paper form that we used to use. So when you do want to sign up a new dealer to this program, please send Tyler or Dan the information on the screen. They just need the dealer name, their number, what tier, what's their target, and then their contact information so that they can receive the form via DocuSign. It's a one-click, super easy process, and then no longer have to sign and scan all of the hard copies. So that wraps it up for us. But Roland, I think you wanted to make some closing remarks, so I'll hand it off to you.
Yeah, I just wanted to add in that, after the phenomenal December we had, we were actually concerned that January might be light. And we were also concerned that we saw some booking slowdown trends that we were worried about. I think I mentioned these on the last monthly call. I would like to point out that we saw a huge surge in the bookings return, especially in the second half of January, which was really positive, put us back on track. We came in about 97% of our January number, which again, considering the December we had, is really positive. Derek and his team are making tremendous progress on DSV and our throughput, ability to get product turned and out the door. So a lot of the things that we've been talking about that tee us up for a good 2023 are actually happening, which is good. because plans are plans, but you actually have to see activity that supports those plans happening for it to work. And we are seeing all of that. I also want to just step back on the NAM thing a little bit. When we say that we don't expect you there, we don't expect you there to support Harmon. So we don't want anybody going because they feel obligated to support Harmon. Obviously, if you want to go for your own reasons, we're not telling you not to do that, and we will have a limited presence there. What we're really looking at is Infocom as the kickoff of the trade show season, for lack of a better word. And it's also better timed with some of the MPI that we have coming around then in the second half of the year. But again, not only thanks for a great last year, but thanks for a good January. We're off to a good start. We're on target to hit the goals, which is really important. So thanks, everyone.
Great. Okay, so we have about 10 minutes for questions. I think oh wait. Sorry, I'm scrolling through. I think, okay. I will start reading them, and if they've already been answered, then somebody can interrupt me and tell me. Are the reps being copied on the PSP emails from Harmon to the dealer? So I
I
guess.
think Caitlin answered that right below it.
Oh, thank you, Mike. So DocuSign, just so everybody, in case there's some people calling in and can't read it. DocuSign does not copy parties that are not part of the contract execution. We can share the list of contracts sent by ISR, and we will have final copies of contract on file once they are fully executed. Thanks, Caitlin.
So, and just to add on to that, I know you mentioned that for the retail program, you guys are solely using DocuSign. Same for PSP. If that is not clear, DocuSign is how you sign them up. If you submit the last page of the PSP contract with one signature, if you submit all pages with both signatures, it doesn't matter. They need to sign the DocuSign. That's how we're moving forward from a legal perspective. So just make sure you are getting your dealer to do that, not a paper copy.
Okay, great. I think the other questions have already been answered live when, oh, here's a new one. Will we be removing the quantity discount column on the price sheet for JBL Control series of speakers?
I don't have any reason to believe that we would. I don't think that ties back to the new contractor care program, which we now call Partner Solutions Program, PSP. That is a GPLM, pricing strategy and pricing program that I've not had any discussions with them or heard anything to the contrary. So if it's still on the price sheet that was issued for Q1, which I don't have in front of me, but I believe it is, then I don't see that it will go away.
Great, thanks. Okay, so we'll pause for a second. If anyone has another question, feel free to enter it into the chat or just unmute yourself and ask away.
Do we have any updates on SRX 900 just from a new order perspective? Placing a new order today, not necessarily, allocation, but when can we expect to deliver an order for something entered today?
That's a good question. We can work with Derek offline to try to get a better sense of when the regular cadence of when the products will be coming in. So why don't I'll take it offline with Derek and then circulate it with everybody on the call, a better idea of SRX 900 availability in general.
Yeah, Rochelle, I can chime in a bit here. I mean, look,
Perfect.
the dates in the portal are the best dates that we have right now, so I would continue to rely on those. North America has received the lion's share of SRX allocation over the last 2 months. So we do have some obligations to our international partners to take care of some of their needs, but per the norm, we do have a allocation process, and I would suggest that if you have emergencies, needs that have to be prioritized, please contact Rochelle or Ricky related to those. And I work with them on a daily basis when we have product to allocate, so we'll make sure that your needs are met. But the portal dates are the best estimates that we have right now for inbound product for SRX 900.
Yeah, Derek, when I look up those products in the portal, I think this applies to anything that's on allocation. It usually shows some error, general exception, or contact your RSM when looking for incoming dates.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's not just on SRX. That's on quite a few products.
Okay. Well, I would, Matt, anybody that has an example of that, I'd like to take a look at that because there's certain flags that should be on and certain flags that shouldn't be on. We don't control those, so it may be an error. Yeah, I'd like to see a screen snip, please. And I'll take a
Yeah,
look at that.
I'll send you some examples. I think it happens when product that is coming in, there's not enough to cover the current back orders, and anything that's on allocation. That seems to be what I'm gathering. Same thing on the control side. I know we're starting to get a little tight on the control side of things. So just trying to set expectations with the customer.
No, understood. And just to be clear, though, there's two different allocation terms. So I just want to make sure that the right levers are being pulled in the background on these, because the way that I look at allocation on SRX is very different from the way the portal or SAP looks at a back order situation. So there may need to be some adjustments in the background. Okay.
There's also a question about DSP and Crown updates, supply chain wise.
Rochelle, we talked about this in our meeting. I'm currently in a dialogue with Wolfgang, our global vice president of logistics and supply chain, to get a comprehensive 2023 update and projection on powered speakers, amplifiers, DSP, and mixers. And we should have that within the next couple of weeks, not only for the members of our team who are going to be having some strategic discussions with some of our key dealers in the next few weeks, but we can also share it with our independent sales reps as well. So we're working on that. It's a big, deep question to try to answer here on this call, and one, quite frankly, that I need some more updates on as well, which is why we're going to Wolfgang. So we're working on that. What is this question about a new PSP price list? I don't understand that one. Will there be a new PSP price list? I don't even know what that means.
I missed it.
Scott, whoever put that there, could you please add some context? I'm not sure what you're talking about. No, there is no, if you're, there's no separate price list for PSP pricing, just like there was no separate price list for contractor care pricing. Contractor care was a program, and PSP, Partner Solutions Program, is a program. So if you're signed up for Partner Solutions Program, one of the benefits, is you get 5% off. So that will be encoded into SAP for each of the dealers that applies to, and that'll just be like a pricing program, just like everyone else has pricing programs, and that 5% off is applied to the standard price sheet and off of the US dealer price. So no, there's not a price list that will come out for PSP. It's the PSP members will just know that they get a 5% program, and so hopefully that answers the question.
Any other questions? Well, right on the dot.
Nice
That
timing,
worked out
Michelle.
great.
Nice
All right,
timing.
go Eagles.
Oh, we don't have time for that.
If not, we'll come to your town and beat you up.
Hey, until February 12th, the Rams are still the defending Super Bowl champions. So don't take that away from me. I've got
Yeah,
9
you
more
hang
days
on to that
to
one, Mike.
relish in that.
Okay.
Go Browns.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, go Bills.